James and I just saw Freaky Tales.
Freaky Tales.
And it's his second time seeing it. He saw it first through the American Cinematheque. That there was like a screening, a Q&A. We saw the directors and Jay Ellis and a couple of the actors. So the gist of it, I really enjoyed it. I love movies set in the 80s. I'm an 80s baby. It's nostalgic for me. There's something really, really cool about it. And I also just love when things are set in a specific time period and it has like a very specific cultural element. I loved that it was set in the Bay. I loved the kind of like campy action elements of it, and there was also elements that felt very much like a comic book, which I really, really thought was cool. There was like moments that reminded me of like anime and things like that. And I thought the acting was really good. You always like make these noises while we're recording.
Maker.
You like burp, you like do things.
I'm a human being.
The acting was really, really great. I loved that it was like these 4 individual stories and they were somehow connected. I wish I could see the very, very beginning again with the narration, because of just the stupid people in our theater. They're like, I'm going to come in late and then use my phone and be like, I don't know where to sit. I'm going to stand up in front of you the whole time instead of figuring out where my seat is before I get in the aisle and start to look for it.
It's like a switch that turns on in people's brains when they walk in a movie theater that like they're by themselves.
Yeah.
Therefore, there's nobody else around them. Except there's a lot of people around you, and they're
So-
all staring at you because you have zero presence of
Self-awareness.
mind that you are out in public and being this way.
Anything you want to say about the gist? I already knew James loved it from the moment.
We started to watch the trailer, then I think we turned it off because we didn't want any more spoilers. We
We knew we wanted to see it within like...
but that was like a couple months ago, so I actually didn't remember much from the trailer except for like just kind of the style. I didn't know it was going to be in 4 vignettes. And at the Q&A, the director kind of spoke to the same sentiment that drew me in. He was just kind of like, I just wanted to make a movie about the kind of like grainy, crazy movies I'd watch on VHS when I was growing up in the 80s. And it made me think of like those times
they're from Oakland, right?
They're all from Oakland. Like everybody
Yeah,
in the
that's
movie
why
is
it was
from
so.
Oakland,
That's why it was
which is
so authentic.
cool.
It was so.
So it
it felt like such a slice of life, you know.
It reminded me of the movies that like, you know, I wasn't supposed to watch when I was a kid because they were too violent, you know. But I'd like go over to my friend's house and have sleepovers, and they'd have it, and we'd watch it, and, you know, be like, oh my god, this is crazy. So it was kind of like those types of movies, just kind of like just really crazy violence and cool music and all sorts of stuff like that.
I really loved the element. I don't know if this is like a spoiler. Maybe it is. Should I say spoiler alert?
If you think it's a spoiler, it's probably a
Okay, spoiler alert,
I
spoiler
feel like
alert.
most people that listen to this podcast have already seen the movie anyway, so because I wouldn't want to take the risk. I'm just saying.
How do you know?
I'm just saying.
So stop listening if you haven't seen it. I really loved this. Added even more to the nostalgia for me. I loved the element of like the green magic, like the green magic,
the energy of Oakland.
ooze thing, where it was like this element of like, is this magic? Like, is it not magic? Which I really, really liked. And I also loved that it was like the thing of him using his mind and like it being in the 80s and like the human potential movement and like S and all these different programs popping up in NorCal. Like, I was like, this is brilliant.
When I first saw it, I was like, it came off as like, oh, this was all in his head. Like, this is what he wants. This is what he's imagining that he wants to do while he's there.
Oh, no. Yeah.
But then I was like, oh no, he's so powerful.
Yeah.
He created this second, his second self that he then sent out there to do his, to do.
Yeah,
his
which was
dirty
even
work,
more
which I thought
amazing.
was so funny. I was like, yes, he's Superman. That's how it was.
And apparently he's a real, it's based on a real basketball player. It's not a real crime.
I don't think it's a real crime because
You didn't look it up to see?
I looked it up on Wikipedia. My first thing I want to look up was like about the NBA record, and I was also curious about the houses being broken into because that seemed like it could have happened, but I couldn't find anything on that. But yeah, as far as like the violence at his house, that was all just for the movie. That's why they prefaced it by like, he did score all these points. The rest of the story is hotly debated what went down that night, like stuff like that. So they kind of told you like, oh, this is just kind of a crazy story here.
Anyway, super fun, just super, for me, like, there's a certain suspension of disbelief with these types of films and movies in general, but when it's done really well like this, it's just so fun and it's so satisfying to see Nazis killed.
Always, your movie, someone said this to me once, your movie can never go wrong if it's about Nazis being violently killed. And
except sadly, I don't know, James. Find me the bad movie that has what I meant was with where our culture's headed. I don't know if everyone universally agrees anymore that Nazis
I think even people in this day and age that we might tease are Nazis.
Who would we might tease as Nazis?
I don't know.
That
You're
made it
sitting
seem
here
like
talking about hypotheticals.
that makes it seem like we know Nazis.
We don't know any
You know that
Nazis.
guy at the coffee shop that we're
You're
like.
speaking in hypotheticals. I'm giving you another hypothetical. People that are Nazis might not see themselves as Nazis. So they might still like to see Nazis being killed because there's a disconnect there for them. Freaking Nazis. Nazi scum.
Anyway, anything
Nazi
else?
scum.
Anything else you want to say about it?
Yes, kill Nazis. What else did I want to say about it?
I really liked it. Like, there was like elements that reminded me of Kill Bill and like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. There was like so many homages. You can you could tell they were big movie fans.
The kid in the store who's did you get the connection where he's in the video store staring at Pedro Pascal? He's trying to make Pedro like explode with the green power. That's why Pedro's nose bleeds, and they come back to it at the end of the movie. I didn't notice that in the first time because I didn't really know what was happening.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But that the way they shot that with the sound effect, like that whole thing, that has been done in at least one movie that I've seen from way back in the day. So that was clearly an homage, but now I can't like think of what the hell it's from.
Well, the thing is, with so many things are influenced, so many things are like homages of homages of homages of homages. I bet you we could look up an article of all the Easter eggs and things in this movie.
Yeah, all the YouTubers will come out.
Anyway, here's the thing. If you like all the things we said, you'll like it. Especially if you like the 80s and nostalgia.
You've already seen it, so.
Yeah, but, sometimes people need to hear you saying that so it validates their opinion. So I'm just, Okay, bye-bye.